Yeah, we should have some people rolling in here any minute. So, guys, welcome to the Angry Hour. As you guys know, this is kind of like a podcast kind of thing, or whatever you want to call it, that I wanted to start doing at least twice a week and talking to creators and everyone that's involved in the comic world at some point or in some way. Not just limited to comic artists or pencilers or anything like that. So for tonight, we have Chris HAYS with us. Chris HAYS is not only a very talented writer and creator, he is also a co-owner in a brick and mortar store called Pastime Comics in Watauga, Texas, with Julian and Brian. He also co-runs the new Cowtown Comicon with McLean and his wife, Kim. So definitely welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Good to be here. Appreciate you asking me. I even had to dress up for you tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. Now I feel like I'm going to rob somebody. Well,
we can do that if you're bored. I mean, after the show, it's only what, 8 hours?
That's right. That's right. We're going
you can be here in 8 hours.
That's right. I can do it in 6. So. Oh, dude, man, did you not to get off subject for a second, man, I definitely throwing some prayers up for Texas tonight, man. That interstate thing was insane, dude.
That was that's about 10 minutes from where I live. Just right down the street. Yeah. Yeah, we heard all the sirens going on, and it was insane. And then you start seeing all the live video of what was going on. Man, prayers out to a lot of those people. That was not good. And seeing just a sheet of ice, and you saw those 18-wheelers that they don't stop.
Oh yeah, there's no stopping. 50,000
and some of them are
pounds?
yeah. Some of them are doing 80 miles an hour, and they hit their brakes, or that's it, they're done.
Yeah, it's just game over. So so definitely throwing some prayers up for those people. And I was talking about that with some friends of mine today, and I was like, man, you can't risk it sometimes, man. You got to stay away from other cars and stuff like that. It's just not worth it. And even then, you got to pray. I mean, so, but let's jump into, let's start with, because the first way I met you was through your writing. I've done a couple covers for you guys for your exclusives, for Don't Pay the Ferryman, The Mortician, and things like that. But let's start with that. What was the first book that you actually got into writing?
It was called The Forgotten Isle. And I'm going to back up a little bit. The first time we actually met, I reached out to you for a commission. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's up here on the wall still. You did a half Captain America, half Red Skull commission for me. Yeah, and then I bought one of your Batman Who Laughs, the puppet prints from you.
Oh, that's right. Man, wow, that has been a while.
It's been close to 3 years. And we just started talking on Facebook like a long lost romance almost. And then
we definitely had the bromance going. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we did. We did. I got to watch it.
I mean,
Julian's
you spooned
watching.
a
He'll
little
get jealous.
Weird, but it's okay.
I'll work on that.
Yeah,
I'll get better.
Need to work on that a little.
Okay, I'll try. No, growing up, my mom and she's always into the horror thriller stuff. So of course the Stephen King books are always laying around the house, and she started getting me into reading that, and that's kind of where I started to develop. I guess my mind's a little twisted, and I wanted to start writing. I always had a couple stories in my head, but I never would do anything with it. And then of course my mom was actually sitting there sometimes saying, "Oh, if you're going to sit on your ass forever and never do it, it's never going to go anywhere. So just do it." And we had the comic store. Me and Julie and Brian had the comic store, and from there I was just like starting to get into the business. And I was like, okay. I sat around one day, had a story called The Forgotten Isle. I had it in my head, started putting it down on paper, and then I had it written. I had no idea what to do after that. Not a clue, right? I mean, I'm selling comics in the store, working full time, wrote a story, have no clue what to do. Then I met McGuire, doing a little con in Watauga that we put on, and all of a sudden I started talking to him, and he started telling me about how in the industry he is and exactly what he does in the industry, lettering, design, all kinds of stuff. And he's like, "Hey man, I heard you wrote a book. That's cool. If you ever need any help with it, let me know. I'll give you some advice." And then from there, he just kind of came on as one of the project managers, and it just took off from there. And then within about a year and a half, we're on book 9 right now. 9 different books out. And yeah, you've done a couple of covers for me and a lot of other people too. So yeah, friends and family all push me. And to me, that's, if it wasn't for everybody pushing me to write and put these things out, I would have never done it. And then especially, I want to give a lot of credit to McLean because I didn't know anything about lettering a book or the printing of a book or getting to design and the logo, getting it all together. And he's the one that kind of helped guide me. And now I take that advice from him and give it to other people. And me and him work together on every book that we have.
Yeah, McLean, I've met him a couple times. I've talked to him a few times on social media. And he's definitely one of those dudes, like, super cool. I mean, he is extremely helpful. He's extremely friendly, very approachable. He always has time for people. If I've got a question, he's got time for it. I watched how he interacted with people at Cowtown Comic-Con. And for me, as you guys have met me before, and that I definitely have a zero tolerance mentality for the fakes and the bullshit and things like that. And that's one of the things I absolutely loved about McLean. And then, of course, your personality also, and Julian and Brian and everybody that I've seen you around, Ken and Sanchez and everyone. It's that same mentality that everyone around me gets lifted or we don't lift.
Right.
And that's such I know as shame as it sounds, that's such a rare thing right now in the comic community. And with social media being such a massive platform to where we do not have to compete against one another for work. Whether you're doing mail order commissions or whether you're writing indie projects or you're drawing for indie projects, there's so much platform there that we don't have to be that way. Yet there's a lot of people that love to talk the Unity game for the sake of their little channel, but don't actually walk it. And and McLean is definitely one of those people, and he's done a lot of stuff in his life. I can't wait to get him on the show. He's definitely going to be one of the next ones I bring on. And all of your projects has been done through Kickstarter, right? Yeah, Kickstarter, not Indiegogo, but Kickstarter, right?
Right.
Okay.
I've done everything. I've launched a Kickstarter on every book, and every one of them is funded. And
I know.
Almost every book.
3 hours.
Oh yeah, that one got me. I wasn't expecting that. Mortician is man, that was creepy. That book is creepy. I mean, you did a cover.
To read that book.
I'll have it. What do we got left on the Kickstarter? 3 days, and then all we're doing is waiting on the final names on the Kickstarter because everybody that contributes, their name goes in the book.
Right.
So the minute the Kickstarter ends, McLean will take. Hey, what's up, Jack? The minute Kickstarter ends, we'll take the final names. He's already got everything uploaded. Goes right to that back page. It's straight to the printer. I'll have them in hand next week. I know we had talked about doing a signing. I need to get you back down here. I've got you, Ken, and David Sanchez were the 3 cover artists on the book. Like I said, you know who a couple of creepy people that I use was actually my parents that I used for the covers. And when I was over there the other day talking to my mom about it, they're pretty excited. She thinks it's great.
Heck yeah, it's awesome.
Oh no, they want to come in store and sit down and sign.
Heck yeah, now we're talking.
Oh yeah, she's like, well, we're the stars of the book. Can't we come in and sign?
That's right.
Like, yeah, y'all are kind of creepy. So yeah, they're going to come in with the rest of us and set up their table and sign.
Well, dude, I'm super excited, man. As soon as y'all figure out the date or when y'all want to do that, definitely just let me know, and I'll be rolling my little ass on down there. I've enjoyed it every time. I've traveled everywhere from New York all the way down to Miami, and across to Louisiana and Arkansas and et cetera. And a lot of it was con stuff. Whether I went as a fan or whether I went as an artist. I've done more store appearances in the last year or so. And dude, man, every time I've come to Texas, it's been an incredibly good experience. From the in-store appearances with you guys, Texas people came out and showed mad love. And so anytime y'all got anything going on, you can damn sure count me in for it. I did the store appearance for for
Sanctuary.
Sean, yeah, for
Hmm.
Sanctuary board and games and board. But for Sean, and again, beautiful attitude, beautiful personality, constantly, like you guys were, constantly making sure I was okay, making sure whether I needed something. And I've been to some places where I've been stuck in a corner and I might as well not even been there. You know what I'm saying? They very would, wouldn't say much. I was just there, and so
Hmm.
that it's a big deal. So I'm definitely count me in. I mean, I can't wait for the signing. And the mortician, man, people are still sending me PMs asking what story's about. Like, dude, you just got to wait and read it.
Yeah, it's ready to go on PDF. After the show, I'll email it to you. I mean, you're going to get your books anyway, so I'll send it over and email it to you. It's ready to go. The only thing not on it is the back page, which is the Kickstarter page for the
Yeah.
names. Other than that, project, we were way ahead of schedule on that. We, not only the covers, but you're talking about, we used Jeff Muth as the interior artist, which was great. We had Matt Chambers again that came out and colored it and did a fantastic job on the coloring. Uh, McLean sat there and worked with those two, and a lot of the pages, which kills me sometimes, but I don't see a lot of the pages. I've written it, and then I'm just like, with you on your cover and everybody else, just do your thing, right? Just go
Yeah.
do your thing. And McLean works with these guys, and all of a sudden McLean will be like, "Hey, here's the first 18 pages of the book." What? They're already done. Here they go, lettered. And you're like, "Oh wow, we're just matching the script to make sure the interior pages match the script, and it's perfect." So, one thing I'm looking forward to, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Is what, in 3 weeks we're all down in Houston.
Oh yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
excited for that.
Oh
Was
yeah.
it Gulf
Yeah.
Gulf Coast?
Gulf Coast. Yeah, we're all gonna be down there.
Is it
Uh,
Gulf Coast Comic Con? Is that what it
Gulf
was called?
Coast
I'm
convention
so
and
yeah,
collectible
I'm so
show. Or,
terrible with names. Links on my page, guys. It's on Chris's page too. This is a first time for Houston,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna go ahead and put Houston on call right damn now. Every time I've come to Texas, you guys have chimed in on my store appearances, Cowtown Comic-Con, talking about, oh, I wish Houston would do something. Oh, Houston needs to do more. So I'm putting you guys on call right down now. You better come out to this Comic-Con and show up and show out because you have guys have talked a lot of talk about wishing y'all had something. Now you do. So anyway, I just want to put that
I,
out there
I
real
think it
quick.
will. He's got some really good guests.
Hmm.
I looked again and he updated some more stuff today. Tony, I'm actually gonna run for Congress, so somebody needs to. We're but I was looking at his guest list, and I'm pretty impressed with what he's got,
Hmm.
and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. I know that our table's set up. McLean's got like an island, so we're all in like a square together, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, just put me next to William. I want to buy McLean, Ken, William, David. I mean, you're talking about. Well, I don't even know if we'll get any work done because you think about we're all at Cowtown, right? You would get up from your table, you come over and hang out with us, and you would have us in tears. And that's one thing good to me about our group, as you said. I mean, the comic industry that you don't see a lot of. I wish you did, but
Yeah.
you're hanging out with us at shows, and it's like everybody fits right in, right? We all go out to dinner. Julian gets his margarita. You know, never gonna let that go.
We've got to film that and then charge people to watch it. That's
It's
pay per
great.
view material.
It was great, but you got to see the candy cane lady in there, whatever that, whatever she.
Woo.
Oof, yeah, uh, that was rough. But there's just so much when we all get together. It's like we've all known each other for 20 years, and to me
Yeah.
that's how it should be when everybody
Yeah,
gets
I
together.
agree. I
You know,
completely agree. And I mean, and like I said, that's one of the reasons. Like that's one of the reasons I want to do my show. Dude, ever since I announced I was doing this show, I've had people sending me PMs. Hey man, I want to be on the show. I want to be on the show, and I'm like, who are you? I'm like, I've never seen them comment on anything of mine, like anything of mine, share anything of mine. Like and I don't mean that sarcastically, like, who are you? I mean, I absolutely don't recognize their name. Like that's how minimal I've ever, that they've done anything.
hmm
And, and that's what I want this show to be because I want it to be a community style thing. So I want to put people on the show that are always uplifting other people. And like you said, I wish more of the community actually did that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash the community because there are lots of great people in the comic community. But we do have some weird spots too, though, for sure. Um, You know, it's just not a me world. It's just not. I mean, if I can't have fun with people that I meet and do this journey with, I just don't see the point in it after that. You know, I don't get the egos. I don't get the, you know, the holier than thou mentality from some.
Hmm.
So, like I said, being around you guys, that's the type of environment and stuff I want to be around. That's the type of people I want to share to people that follow me. So yeah, dude, you guys have been an absolute blast. And like I said, all my trips to Texas have been better than most of my trips everywhere else. Texas has done really awesome as far as like impressing me with their, I want to say Southern mentality. You know, I guess is the way most people would call it. You know, coming out to the shows and events, even for 1 day store events. But let's get back to your writing talking because I definitely
Okay.
want to hit on that a little bit more. Um, who are some of your big influences that got you that made you want to write instead of another category?
You know, it was just something I've wanted to do since I thought about since high school. God, you know, that was 30 years ago. Uh, but it really was. And then all of a sudden, like I said, that one of the people that kept pushing me was my mom. I mean, I'll be honest. You know, she was going to do it one time. And then, you know, which was funny was,
Ah,
you know,
okay.
yeah, you know, Brian, you know, years and years ago, remember the first time he bought a computer and God, this was in the 92 or something like that, 91, somewhere around there, bought a computer. He was going to he was going to sit down. He was going to write kids books. A little creepy, Brian, kids books, but it was going to work. Uh, you know, Brian, uh, pretty much all we did was wind up playing fantasy baseball on his computer. I mean, that's all we
Oh,
used it for.
dang.
So yeah, he never got around to writing. He
Yeah.
is now, but
Nice.
you know, it's just something that you always have that idea in your head, and we all do it. Everybody watching, everybody in the world always does it. They got an idea in their head,
Yep.
they never do it. They
Yeah.
never move forward with it. Probably like you did with drawing, right? You knew you could
Mhm.
draw.
Yep.
You practiced.
I let too many people around me tell me
Hmm.
how I couldn't make a living at it. And that was one of my biggest. Now, don't get me wrong. Back when a lot of these people were making those comments, there's no doubt about it. It was much harder back then. There was no social media. There was no Facebook, Instagram, and I was a poor kid living in a little bitty town that was hours on top of hours from the closest convention. So showing my portfolio to someone, you know, was a nigh almost impossible. But even listening to that, that fear of failure is definitely, for
Hmm.
some reason, just buried in us. That fear of being told we're not good enough, or you know, maybe later, because for a lot of people don't know this. I actually worked on a portfolio for about 2 months prior to a Comic Con in Chicago in 2000. And I took a portfolio to Chicago Comic Con, Wizard World, and Image was there with Top Cow and all their other little departments. So I met Mark Silvestri, David Finch, Matt Hawkins. Matt Hawkins was the editor in chief of Image Comics at that point. And I actually showed Matt my portfolio, and of course, like most kids, all of my portfolio was mostly splash pages, all the exciting stuff. You know, being someone who's never, you know, again, no social media, so I had no clue what to put in a portfolio. So there was no page layouts or anything like that. And Matt Hawkins actually looked through my portfolio and really liked the work and gave me his card for me to send him some page stuff, and I never did because of that fear of, I don't know whether it was a fear of that it might work, that it I might make my, you know, my presence into it or my foot in the door, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Or listen, you know, all those memories of people saying you can't make money doing that, etc. And at that time, I had a wife. I had a baby that we had just had. You know, it was a very terrifying thing. So yeah, I can definitely relate to the whole, you know, being scared to do it or you know whatever behind it. But
Yeah, sweatpants, Julian, sweatpants. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to turn this around and touch on something that you just said. You
okay,
know, you were talking about years ago when you did this. Let's think about social media. None of us like it. I mean, let's be
no,
honest. I mean, it's an evil. We all know it.
Yeah, it's
But
an addiction.
it is, but it's a necessary evil, because
Yep.
if we didn't have it, where are we going to be? Right? I mean, I wrote some books. Who's going to know about them? Right? Would we even have, me and Julian even opened up a store if it wasn't for it? Uh, would you be drawing these days? How would you get your drawings out there for people to see?
Yep.
You're not going to have somebody seeing your work sitting in Seattle, Washington. When you're
Yep.
sitting where you're sitting, or I'm in Texas sitting here, nobody's going to know about my stuff in Canada, right? Or New York. It just, they're not going to see it, because there's, especially with everything going on today. Uh, so the funny is, the power of social media brought us all together. That's how I met you. And in
Yep.
this industry, you've made a lot of friends. I've made a lot of friends. We all have in this industry based on social media. So
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's like right now, if there was no Facebook, if no social media, I wouldn't be drawing. I'd still be doing my insurance career, making great money, being able to retire within 15 years, you know, but I wouldn't be drawing. And, it took a real hardcore wake up call for me to finally decide I'm done with this. And again, I had a very lucrative career. I mean, I made great money doing what I was doing. And to give that up to become art, I mean, I couldn't do it anymore. It was just that decision. Social media is here. Now there's an outlet. Even though I hadn't thought about it for like the last, 6 or 7 years, it just finally clicked about 4 years ago. I was like, wait a minute, man, social media is all over the place. Why don't I try it?
mhm,
So it took away that fear, because there at that point it wasn't someone gatekeeping a door, so to speak, and there was no doorman I had to walk past or get someone's approval for to put my art out there. I could
mhm,
go, wait a minute, it's my Facebook page, it's my Instagram page, I can put my stuff out there and hopefully people like it. So I mean, do I like Facebook? No, I hate it with a passion. There's so much drama, so much petty bullshit, so much cry me a river, I'm a
there,
victim. Oh, woe is my anxiety and everything else. We all suffer from it. We all have our pains and sufferings that we deal with day in and day out. But so I don't even hang out on social media as far as like strolling the news feeds. It's just so much hate now. And but there's no doubt about it. Without it, the majority of us would not be artists right now.
no,
We would. There's not enough room at the table, at the big three. There's just not enough. I mean, without social media, there wouldn't be Kickstarter projects. So
mm-mm.
sadly, it is definitely a necessary evil at this point. That's for sure.
Yeah, no,
I mean, he could walk through the door tomorrow and say, "Look, hey guys, we're sorry. Facebook's going to now cost you $5 a month to be a member," and we'd go, "Okay." I mean, I
well,
would.
somebody would start a new one.
I don't know what, like, me and a friend of mine were talking about that. No, it's actually me and Terry. I was like, usually when an idea comes along, someone starts up a similar idea. But
Hmm.
you notice no one's ever come up with another Facebook style platform. So I always wondered, like, I wonder if they do and then they get bought out before it can move, or there's some kind of thing that keeps them from having it happen. I don't know. That's a whole different ball game there. But all right, so let's talk about your with the mortician based
Hmm.
on your parents. As far as the main character, not based on your parents, okay, people, they weren't doing that in Alabama, just to,
But we don't know that.
well, yeah, that's a good
I
point
mean, you
too.
really don't. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Hey, Ken Salinas, how you doing? We really don't know that. So,
Well, that one I'm super excited to read, and don't pay the ferryman, because I've had some people ask me this, and I know I'm pretty sure you told me this, but yep, oh, there's my cover. That's a
that's
super
your
sexy
cover.
cover.
Look at that. That is.
I have to admit though, I like my other cover better. Oh, that second print cover. Oh my God, I love that one.
I'll have that all next week.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. But was there going to be anything? There's something else that's coming. Can you share any of that? Isn't there something else coming for the Don't Pay the Ferryman fans? Didn't you tell me about something, or do you want to talk about that yet?
There is another book. I mean, you have to ride the coattails, right, of success. And I mean,
Exactly.
look at me. I mean, what else do you expect?
That's right.
Uh,
You got to be a
yes,
baller.
you do. I'd trip and fall, so I wouldn't go as far as baller. Uh, I'm writing a book right now called The Detour. So
Yeah.
once the Morticians ended, The Detour issue 1, 2-issue book, it's written, it's ready to go. It's about to start being drawn on the inside. We're going to launch it like we did on the Ferryman, going balls out on this thing. Covers,
Nice.
probably having about 10 covers on this thing.
Nice.
Uh, so we're going to go all out on this one and have a lot of fun with it like we did the Ferryman. Then I'm going to have issue 2. And then once issue 2 is done, then toward the end of the year, I'm going to launch Ferryman Origins.
Nice.
You know what? That was an idea from a good friend of mine, Ryan Palmer, who once we finished Ferryman 1 and 2, we were standing in the store one day and I was like, man, it's sad that I ended this one, 2 issues. One thing about me is you'll notice my longest running book I ever did was The Forgotten Owl, my first series. It was 4 issues. It was fun. I'm done with it. I like the short anthologies. I like the quick story, tell it, go on to something else.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it keeps the reader a lot more interested. I don't get into, I sell them. I don't read a lot of Marvel books. For one, I don't want to read 75 issues of one book because it takes 42 different spins and goes in different directions. You get that book, and a lot of people do, and that's great. I'm never a novel guy, so that's not me. I'm the guy that reads and writes the short stories. I'd rather write a one-shot book, have the story done, leave it open for possibly something else, or write 1 and 2 issues and be done with that story. So The Detour is coming up right after The Mortician. Hello, McLean. 2 issues, and then we're going to go right in. We're going to finish the year off with Ferryman Origins. That one I'm pretty excited about. I've already got my notes down for it.
Nice.
I think that one's going to be big.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, I'm, dude. Like I said, me being a big horror fan, like I've told people in the community, I was like, if you got a horror project, come at me, and I'll work out some kind of deal with people doing horror stuff, man. Because I wish there were more horror books in the comic mainstream area, especially. But just comics in general. So for me, seeing you guys write actual horror stuff is very refreshing. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big Batman fan, and
Mm-hmm.
The Long Halloween is one of my favorite all-time Batman stories. And again, more of a creepy feel to it, and that's probably why. But with the writing in general, when let's get a little information for people who might want to know something about writing. Like when you get the idea for a project, how do you approach it to really get the ball rolling for the story?
I think a lot of it is imagination. Uh, I'll throw in The Detour. I was out working, driving down this dirt road in Boyd, Texas. It's about 40 minutes from here. Middle of nowhere, just driving down the road. And 2-lane road, fields on both sides. Should have, going down the road, I look over to the left. There's a brand new sign. On this sign, it said freshly picked fruit. Big old sign, had an arrow pointing down this little lonely dirt road that went to nowhere that you could see. I drive by it. You look down there because you're like, man, that's weird. You see that sign, but my mind immediately goes to, well, that doesn't speak serial killing. Nothing does. In 5 minutes, I pull the truck over and I'm taking notes. I already have a story in my head and I'm going with it. So
Nice.
I'm already taking notes. What do? I pick up the phone. I call McLean. I'm like, I got a story idea. He's like, give it to me. I start lining out the story and he's like, let's do it. I'm like, okay. So I get home, have all the notes down, and then just something like that, it just explodes. I think a lot of people, when I write, I play it out as a movie in my head. So when I'm writing, I'm picturing a movie. When I did Ferryman, I was sitting at the table about to eat dinner, and I'm just sitting there. I don't know what sparked it. I really can't remember what sparked the whole idea of the Ferryman. I was sitting there. Just a word was said on TV or something, and it was like that. And I had a whole story ready to go. And I remember I jumped up, ran out to the back, picked up the phone, called McLean, and started talking to him about this story. And he's like, where'd you get this from? Just popped in my head. It was just that simple. It just popped in my head. And I sat down that night, started writing issue 1. I was done with it. Took a while. I finished issue 1. We launched it, pushed a couple other projects back, which Mortician that we're on right now should have came out in January of this year. But I was so hyped on the Ferryman. I was so hyped about the Ferryman, we launched it, and it wound up being the most successful Kickstarters I've had on 1 and 2. The cover, I always say it's not the writing, right? Covers sell your books. You got to have a good title. You got to have a good cover. Covers sell your books. We all know that, right? I mean, there's books in our store. I've read a couple. I don't make it halfway through the book because the writing is pathetic. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'm nothing special. I have fun writing it. You're either going to like my story or you're going to hate it. And I've had people come up to me and tell me from the Forgotten Isle on issue 1. I had very first book. Where is it? Of course, I had to show them off, right?
Heck yeah, please do.
So, very first one I wrote, Creepy Tree, right? Alan Quall, DC and Marvel artist. Alan Quall did that cover for me. My very first book that came out. It's the only cover I had. Alan Quall did that.
But see, you swung for the fences. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, Alan, I love a lot of Alan Quall's work, and I've talked to him a couple times. He's a super nice guy. But see, I wish more, and I understand not everyone can swing for the fences all the time or anything like that. But I think if you're going to put out your first book, I mean, I think that was brilliant, going for someone that has a bit of a name to them, that has a very cool style also, that is very professional, and I love the fact you did not crutch on tits and ass to sell the first book.
I'll never do that. I won't do that.
Love it. I love it. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against TNA if it's done right and if it's done sexy and strong. But there are so many indie projects right now that have 40, 50 covers for a Kickstarter, and it's all TNA for some weird reason. Well, no, it's not a weird reason. You're doing it because it sells, and your book can't sell itself. Like, either your writing's weak, your interior art's weak, something is weak, so you're crutching on that. I love the fact that you guys didn't do that. And on a first book, I mean, that was awesome.
I went straight. Alan Quall, we had just finished in store doing an exclusive with him. I called up him at Scott's Collectibles. They agreed to do the cover. And Alan was the greatest thing. Alan told me, we were talking on the phone. Well, he's in Malaysia, so we're on Facebook Messenger talking. And he's like, I've always wanted to do a horror cover. Nice. I mean, what do you want? And I told him the idea came from Cole, my son who's into horror stuff. He's like, I started talking to him about what I wanted on the cover. And Cole's like, no, don't, put the clothing from the victims, swaying in the wind with blood on them. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Alan killed it. We went to the book launched in August of 2019, went to Santa Fe Comic-Con with McLean and Ken. We were there, and I sold over 40 books. That's the only book I had on the table. The craziest thing, it was a Comic-Con, and it's me and Ken and McLean were the only 3 there with books. I couldn't figure that out. Big Comic-Con, but we were the only 3 there with books. But people would come by and buy the book for the cover, and that's it. And then I literally had one guy would leave. He went and sat down in a casino and read it, and he came back. He said, where's issue 2? Because I left everybody hanging on issue 1. I mean, I left them hanging. Good enough that when the book first came out, Julian came over, walked in the house, and he's like, where's the book? I said, oh, it's in a box in there. It had just come in that day. I mean, I just got him in hand. He picked it up. He read it. He slammed it shut, cussed me out because I left it on. I left people hanging. You do that because you want them buying issue 2.
Yeah.
You don't want them saying, okay. But at that show, I had people coming up going, loved it. It was awesome. When's issue 2 coming out? Where can I buy it? I'd give them the website. I literally had one guy come up and said, hey, I read it. Love the cover. Not my thing. Not a horror guy. He goes, good luck. Probably not going to buy 2. Not my thing. That's fine. I'll take the critiquing. I want people to come to me and say, you know what? I didn't like how you wrote this in the story. I didn't like how you do that. Okay. Because to me, I think you grow on people critiquing you. That's how we grow. If you get offended because somebody critiques you, this business isn't for you.
Yeah.
I just look at it that way, whether you're a creator, an artist, whatever you may be in this business, it's not for everybody. Just like your art, right? I love your art. Everybody watching is here because they love your art too and what you do. There's probably people out there in the world that walk by your table and go, it's okay. Because it's not their style that they like. And you're like that. You're like, okay, well, it's not for everybody. For the 2 people that may not like your art, right? 300 other people have already bought that art of yours. So
that's right.
And again, to me, I just think you've got to take the good with the bad in this industry, and you can't get butthurt about what people say.
Yeah, I don't even pay it any attention anymore. Like when I first got started, you know, I would get a little offended if somebody said something about they didn't like this or that. And then I realized, you know what? I don't create this for them. I create this for me.
That's what it's about, right there.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. If you don't like my art, I'm cool with it. Be respectful, but I'm cool with it. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I said, I love the fact that you guys, didn't cop out on the first issue or anything like that. That you guys went was, and as far as horror is concerned, I mean that's a tough one sometimes because most people when they're in the comic world, they're really not there for horror anyway. So the fact that the books are doing so well and it's a horror genre, in my opinion, says a lot to the writing and the way the book is handled and things like that. But let's switch gears a little bit because again, like I told people from the start, you guys have your hands in a lot of different things. You are also the co-owner operator of Pastime Comics in Watauga with Julian and Brian. And so give me a little history on that. How long have you guys been doing that? And what made you guys decide, you know what, I want to do a comic shop?
Julian and I, I've been friends with Brian almost 30 years and about, 16, 17 with Julian. Our kids grew up together, played football together and stuff, me and Julian. Julian and I were into the Funko Pops and kind of collecting them a little bit, and we'd flip them. I'd buy some. It's where I met a lot of my friends from the comic store. I'd buy some. I'd turn them and flip them pretty quick because they were hot.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting over there talking to Julian one day, and I'm like, man, these things are blowing up. I'm thinking about opening a little store at Trader's Village over here in Fort Worth and Arlington, which is like a outdoor flea market, just to see. So we did. He went in with me. So did Brian. And we went out there and we opened up a little store. It was the saddest thing you've ever seen. And we laugh our ass off about it all the time because our first day setup was the Saturday. If you go to Walmart, you can get those 6-foot tall plastic shelves. There's 3 shelves on them, right? They're $25. We had a glass case, a display case in the middle. And this is in a 10 by 20 on an inside area. That was our space. It's like a garage roll-up door. Right. And then we had a little piece of outdoor carpet. We had a little glass case where Julian brought some of his Chase Pops up there. And then on both sides of the glass case, we had about 50 Pops, right? They looked full. We had them all pulled up. So to us, it looked pretty cool. But you talk about it as bad as you can get. It was. And then we had a little short box on a little, like a TV tray almost, of comics. It was half full of comics. And we're like, all right, well, we're hoping to, just sell a couple things, right? We sold out. That first day, we sold out everything. And we're like, holy crap, what do we do? Luckily, we had friends that were flippers, and they had we went and spent $200 and bought more product for Sunday. We sold out on Sunday. And we're like, all right, this will work. After about 3 months of doing that, we started talking about, hey, we should get we brought in a lot of comics. We got a Diamond account. We should look at getting a store. And that location that we have popped up one day. I was driving by and saw a for rent sign and checked it out. Within a week, we'd signed the lease, and the rest is history on that. And then from there, for us, it just kind of exploded. We have a lot of fun. And, I know a lot of people in the comic industry, we're kind of blessed the way I see it because we all have jobs, full-time jobs. We make no money from the comic store. We do the comic store, the 3 of us, because we like it. And it's like a passion of ours. So we enjoy doing that. We don't make any money off of it. We've invested money into it. We still invest money into it to bring in things. But to us, we want to see it grow. We've made a lot of friends in the comic world, such as you, such as McLean, you know, we've gone to Orlando. We got to meet Alan Quah and Kale and Inhook and Perillo and have dinner with these guys. And there's just
Right.
a lot that we've got to do because of the friendships that we made in that industry. And it's something we'll never let go of because we enjoy it. It's almost like a stress relief. You know, a lot of guys have their man
Right.
cave. That's our man cave. Yeah, you know, Cole runs the store for us. We have David Sanchez works there for us. He also has a little art studio there that he draws in
Yep.
there. But for us, we're able to bring in guests. You know, we had Ray Park come in. We had Lou
Hmm.
Ferrigno come in. We got Ariel in, Diaz coming in
Yep.
a couple of weeks. We got Sam Jones coming in. Uh, just to name a few, we've had Clayton Crane come in and set up in store.
Yep.
We've got a list of people we have coming in this year. It's a big year for us. So what's up, Chris Reed? Gabe's Cave guys, you know, we got to meet those guys at the cons. So I don't know, just the comic thing was a blast for us. Like I said, it's a stress relief for us. I always tell people when somebody's like, "Boy, I'm looking to open a comic store," we're like, "No, don't," because you're not going to make money if you're getting into this
Nope.
to have a full income on this. And people do, and hey, more power to them. That's great.
Yeah.
I know people in our area, that's their full-time job, and they do very well, and that's great. That's awesome. Hope they succeed. You know, for us, our store sustains. You know,
Yeah.
it makes money. Tyler, how are you? It makes money, and it allows us to do things. We get to do exclusives. We get to bring people in, take you guys out to dinner. You know, I mean, there's
Yeah.
just things that it lets us do. And again, like I said, it's like our man cave, our escape. So
Yeah, and I mean, and I love the fact that you guys do that too, because I mean, there's no doubt about it. Every comic owner I've known, you know, it does okay and whatnot. And yeah, there's probably, if you want to make tons of money in comics, it's probably best to be like a flipper, or someone who just runs a Facebook group and does pre-sales or something like that. You know, for all the exclusives and one in 1,000, that roll to the door. Holy crap.
and people do that, and you know what? They're
Yeah.
successful. They've got their
Hmm.
niche, and they do that. We've got friends that do that,
Yeah.
right?
But
Frankie's
comic
Comics, Scott's
store is straight
Collectibles.
up passion.
Yeah, and here's the another main reason that we started it. And I'll be honest, I think Julian and I were in comic stores buying stuff. We were the customer on the other side of the counter,
Hmm.
buying a book that just came out. Variant cover B would wind up being $10. Why? The book just came out.
Hmm.
It's $3.99 cover price, and people would have it at $10 just because it's a hot book of the week. That's crap. You don't do that to
Hmm.
people. We don't do that. So I don't know. We've always been against that. We said we'll never do that, and we've stuck to our word for over 3 years now. We don't do that. If a hot book comes out, right, it's on the shelf. We do a live Facebook show on Tuesday nights. The book's on there. We may auction off a hot book or like a 1 in 25 or something that comes out. We auction that stuff off. Everybody gets a chance at it. Uh, but as far as cover A, B, or C that comes out and their cover price, and just because it's a hot book, it's going on our shelf because we want that person that enjoys coming in and collecting. We want them to be able to have a chance to get that book, and not for all the flippers to come in and grab it real quick and then take it and
Yeah,
throw it up on
exactly.
eBay for $60. And you
Hmm.
see that a lot.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You see it a ton. I mean, I've already heard horror. What's up, Tyler? I've already heard stories of, so and so book. All right, prime example, that Daredevil book that
Hmm.
came out.
Hmm.
That was like the day before it released. The book was already being pre-sold on like eBay and stuff, like $25, $30.
Hmm.
And people, there's been a few stores that got outed as pulling those books out of people's pull boxes
Oh, I've heard
and
that.
and slapping them on eBay or whatever, or telling the customer, oh hey man, that book came out today, man. It's going to be a $20 book instead of cover price. And I was like, holy Jesus, that's some messed up shit. And don't get me wrong,
It happens.
I've said before, because I can play devil's advocate. Pull list or pull list, you don't touch those, period.
Mm-mm.
But let's say you got 20 copies of Hot Book B and it's going for stupid on eBay the night of release. Now, I've played devil's advocate and I said, I have no problem with comic stores taking those off the shelf because they're not pull lists and putting them up. I don't have a problem with that because the only people I've ever caught like hardcore bitching about that were the flippers who couldn't run in there and buy 10 copies of it, put on eBay themselves because they didn't have it on their pull list. But even me saying that, like I've made that comment to you before, and you guys were like, yeah, no, we understand, but because I was like, I was trying to say, hey, I know I don't have a problem with that as long as the pull lists aren't touched. Why shouldn't comic shops make a little extra money on the flavor of the week? And you guys were like, no, we still don't do it then. I was like, wow, that's badass.
No, we don't do it. I don't believe that. You're talking about Daredevil 25 when it came out. On our show, that Tuesday show, we gave one away. I mean, that
I
book
was there.
that book was going for $30. So we do giveaways on all our shows. That book, the thing was this: we could have auctioned it off and made money for the store. And I told people this: hey, it was easy. We could have auctioned it off. We could have made $60 for the store and put it in our pocket. That's crap. Sorry, it's crap. And yeah, most people would do that. But no, we're like, you know what? We have one copy left. One copy. That's it. We sold them on the show at cover price. We had one copy left. We gave it away, and luckily the way that we do our giveaways with our numbers, the person that got it wasn't one that was able to get it when everybody was claiming the book. So it worked out really good. So yeah, that's just, that's something we're not perfect, right? People have pull lists, right? We've missed some books. I'll be the first one to say that we all do. I mean, none of us are perfect in the store, but we try not to do that. We bring in exclusives. We've got Frankie's, we've got Scott's, we've had Scorpion exclusives, all that. And with those, we have to sell those books for what we're told to sell them for, or what those stores sell them at. That's what we have to do. But as far as raising the price on like cover B, we just won't do that. And we've been praised for it. People come in and say, whoa, I was over in another city and this book was $15 on the shelf. And you're like, why? It's $3.99, right? Buy it. But one thing with us is if it is a hot book, let's say a Daredevil, it's one per person because we want everybody to have the opportunity to come in and buy that book.
Nice. I'm a big believer in that.
We don't want a flipper come in and grab it. And we've had it. I'll be there. I've been in the store months ago where we've had people come in on a hot book, come out, and they've come up and say, oh, I'm going to grab all 5 or 6 off the shelf. Can't. It's one per store. Well, it doesn't say it. It's a hot book. We understand that. It's one per person. And they get pissed. But I'm sorry. I mean, you're going to get a shot, and the person that comes in behind you is going to get a shot, and the person that comes behind you is going to get a shot. It's the only fair way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I wish more people do it, especially online sellers with pre-sales and stuff. I really wish they would figure out a way to cap it. But then again, there's also been rumors going around, again, just hearsay rumors, but, that some people are doing, bot buying and reselling on,
eBay and all that.
Non-connected eBay accounts. So buying their own books and then throwing them on eBay, that sell out in magically 20 seconds. So, I mean, I wish more people would implement the whole, when it's a hot book, the whole 1 or 2 per customer kind of thing. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. And for anybody listening to this, I've been to their store many times, or several times, and, dude, they run a great store. Their live sales are on, was it Tuesday nights?
Tuesday nights.
And do you guys do on Wednesday too, or do you just do Tuesday?
No, we're Tuesday only at 8:00, unless, and we all love Diamond. So unless Diamond's shipments are late and the books don't come in Tuesday, sometimes the books show up Wednesday. We'll do the sell on Wednesday evening, but that's few and far between, but it happens. But it's usually Tuesday nights at 8:00.
Okay. So there you go, guys. And you guys know, you should know me by now. I won't mention anybody unless I think they're worth mentioning. So, and out of all the different comic stores and stuff I've talked to, there's actually only been 2 that has made the kind of statements like Chris just made about not hiking prices, and that's Pastime Comics and Sean's store with Sanctuary and Phoenix Comics. Man, out of all the people I've talked to on many occasions, you 3 are like the only ones I've heard actually say those words. So that's, in my opinion, if you're not buying from one of these guys, man, you guys are throwing your money in the wrong places, in my opinion. But so let's talk about, we definitely understand that the comic store is a passion and stuff like that. And you mentioned a few minutes ago that you guys have a list of people that you're trying to get in this year. Anyone that you got kind of confirmed you can kind of share with us, or is it all just still kind of hush hush at the moment?
It's hush hush. There's some names coming in. There's an angry artist guy coming back. I know.
Oh
We'll
hell,
keep
that
him quiet.
asshole.
Yeah, I know. That's the way we look at it too. He went and drew
That's
on our
terrible.
wall just out of the blue.
That
But
sounds like him.
no, I mean, like I said, we've been blessed because I'm friends with the promoter,
Hmm.
with Rod, and just out of the blue, right? We had Ray Park in our store,
Hmm.
and I mean, who the hell gets Ray Park in their store? Just
And I've met
you
him.
gotta
That dude is super
that
nice.
dude is amazing, and just out of the blue, Rod calls me up and he's like, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you." Okay, I'm thinking, hey, he's gonna bring in somebody nobody's ever heard of, and he's like, "You want Ray Park in your store next Friday night?" I'm like, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
just let's go. There's no question about that. We had a short promotional period for Ray Park. We had over 500 people signed up on Friday night. That dude stayed in our store till
Nice.
2:30 in the morning signing
Yeah.
autographs.
He's
Craziest thing.
awesome, dude. I met him at I was actually that was at Chicago Comic Con,
Mhm.
Wizard World in 2000. That's when I met him and Tyler Mane.
Well,
They were there promoting X-Men, and the dude is just. I think I talked to him for about like 30 minutes, like on the side when he got up to take a break. Dude is super nice.
oh, he's awesome, the way it looks, just to let you know, it looks like he's coming back to Fort Worth in June.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to try to make a trip down there for it again.
you're already going to be set up there.
Oh, that's right. That's
Oh yeah,
countdown.
look at that.
Jesus, I'm
Yeah,
having a brain. I'm terrible
not
with
giving
dates.
it
That's
out there
why.
yet, but yeah, so
Yeah.
along with a few others. So yeah,
Nice.
we've got the three of us get together. We've got some things coming this year that
All
we're
right.
keeping hush hush right now. So
Okay, good. Because I want to. I definitely want to. I want to. That'll give us an excuse to kind of move over to the third pot you got your hand in, and it's definitely one I've got some questions for too, and I've got some questions here. A few people sent in for me, but I do want to make real quick now before we leave the store topic. You got a in-store appearance coming up here real soon, right?
yeah, I've actually February 26th, we got Jason Font coming in, the Red Power Ranger, who's getting to
Yep.
be pretty popular. March 5th, we have Sam Jones, Flash Gordon. He'll
Yep.
be coming in. March 6th, we have Ariel Diaz coming in to see us as well. And then we've got another Hush Hush at the moment coming in after that.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. All right, and then of course we'll be working out the date soon for the official Mortician release party, as we're going to call it.
yeah, I want to do
Uh,
like a live burning. That's part of the book. So if we can somehow get
yeah,
a stove or something in there and maybe put McLean's feet in the fire,
there you
something to
go.
really go along with the book, I think we could make that happen. Uh,
Exactly, just a little, just for selfies. That's all.
it could
You
be
know.
quick, a little pain, but he'll be all right. We'll get some buttercream and rub it on there or something, buttermilk, as Julian says. He'll be all right. But I think we
Exactly.
can make that work.
All right, so let's jump over now and talk about the Comic Con. You guys have decided because the world has gone psycho and the world has like filled their hypocrisy level to the freaking max. Because if you can have damn football and I can go to Walmart and I can go to Lowe's and watch all these nasty half dressed ass people sneeze, cough, and spit and touch everything around me, I can go to Comic Cons. So you guys kind of have that same mindset. So you guys started your own Comic Con last year,
Hmm.
Cowtown Comic Con with McLean and your wife Kim. Tell us
Yeah.
about that one.
Yeah, it actually started. I'll be honest. Before that was our big one. Before that, back during the pop days of doing pops, the first one I ever put on, Julian helped me, was at a Marriott hotel in a little room in a Marriott, not a bedroom or anything, but it was one of their little conference rooms, and
Sure.
yeah, yeah. But it was it sold out in like 2 days of the tables. Tables were like $25. It just helped cover the cost of renting that room for like $300.
Right.
And it went well. And then after that, I had fun putting on the little shows. Right after that, I started putting them on at when my son was going to high school, a place called Haltom High School. Uh, Haltom started letting us put on the events in the cafeteria,
Oh
big
wow,
area.
cool.
Well, and what we do we gave half the money back to the football booster club. So it's kind of like for charity. So we were giving money back to the program, the football program, giving money back for the kids. Then, once he graduated, we didn't do it at Haltom anymore. So over in Watauga, where the store, they had a little conference center, small. We started putting on. That's where I met McLean. He called one to table one time, but we started putting on a show at the Civic Center in Watauga. We could hold about 40 vendors, just little 6-foot tables, right? I mean, it wasn't much, but it was fun, and we'd do it, twice, 3 times a year, and we make a little money, not much, free admission and all that. And then all of a sudden, once everything started shutting down, I was sitting around talking to McLean. I was talking to Kim, and I said, "Man, we should do a con." And they're like, "What?" And I go, "Well, think about it, right? Everything's canceled, right? You can't do anything. People want to get out of the house. Let's try this." So we started searching for a facility, and sure enough, Hearst, where we had it, they have a convention center there, which is absolutely gorgeous. They worked with us, put together some dates. The only dates available were in October, and we're like, this is going to fail, right? Halloween weekend, COVID's hitting.
Yep, it was.
We're like, but we're going to do it. We're going to move forward with it. We're going to do it. And, those two came in and helped out tremendously, right? I had to work. I had worked for Julian, so, in our real jobs. So he had me at work the day of setup, so I couldn't be there. And then from there, all I can say is, boy, the support that we got, the vendors showed up, and boy, the people came out. And of course, we wanted more people like that. I think they put out, Kevin McLean put out survey forms at the end of the show to see. Everybody rated the show great. All the vendors, everyone said, and this is fine. Everyone said, wish more people would attend. Well, we had over 1,000 people come through the door in 2 days. And to me, that was a huge success. That Saturday afternoon at the show was slam packed. Man, that thing was packed with people. Every vendor made money. That's what it's about. And people were coming up to me going, why is it only $5 to get in? Because I heard both sides of it. I look at it as, and I caught a bunch of crap from Julian and Brian on this, because they're like, no, you can charge more to get in the door. No, I'm not, because here's why. And I'll say it over and over, and I'm sticking to my guns on this. If we're the guys that charge $25 to $40 on a Saturday for you to come in with your family of 4, they're not coming to William Russell's table and buying 3 or 4 prints, or going to Ariel Diaz's table, or going to Mike Henson's table. They're going to look at your stuff and say it looks great, and say, I'm out of money. And every vendor is going to know and go, well, damn, all that money just went in the promoter's pocket, and he's walking around here smiling, and he just made $20,000. I could do that. Let's be honest. I mean, that's what happens at cons.
Yeah.
We're not doing that, right? Our ticket price for this year is $10. It's $10 to get in. It's where it's going to stay. Don't matter what names come in, it's $10 to get in the door, because we want them at your table. We want them at every other vendor's table, spending money and shopping and enjoying it. And if we do that and the vendors walk away happy, then the show grows. And that's the main part of it. It's kind of like the comic store, trying to do things different that other people don't do. We want to do it right. And I'm going to catch flack on it, and I don't care. From, like I said, Julian and Brian, they're on my ass going, well, you could charge more at the door. Yeah, we could, but we're not going to, because the minute we do that, we lose people from showing up. And then at the same time, you're also, if you look at it from what they said, and they said, well, I get people saying, well, you're $10 to get in. That's just a pop swap. That show's going to suck. Hey,
but it didn't.
Come out and spend your $10 and find out.
Yeah. Well, I get where they're coming from, because I growing up, and when I used to drive into Memphis, I lived about an hour from there. I didn't have lots of money to spend either. So, there was a lot of those cons around Memphis that would kind of pop up, and it would be $10 to get in, or there was a couple out of state that was like free. And I would go to those because I didn't have a lot of money. And there's no doubt about it. You walk in and there's people selling lawn furniture, or there's people selling, these boxes that they made at home, that doesn't have anything to do with comics, earrings and all kinds of shit that has nothing to do with comics. Right. So that I get where they might be thinking that coming into an event like that being a $10 event. But there's no doubt about it. You guys absolutely, anyone that came to that show 100% realized that's not what this is. I mean, I've been to a good bit of Comic Cons, from big ones to small ones, and I'm not saying this just because you're on the show. I mean, I told people at the show, I was like, holy Jesus, this thing is running really well. Like, it really shocked me. You guys had tables set up. You guys had volunteers set up. You guys had everyone's check-in package set up. I didn't have to go digging around looking for my table. Everything had my name on it. It was marked. You guys constantly came by to check and make sure we were okay. I've been to a lot of cons, dude, where being by myself there, I sat for almost 8 hours and no one's come by to see if I need to go to the bathroom or if I needed food or anything like that. And then I've been to some cons where they didn't even have tables marked, and I'm walking around trying to find my table, and there's nothing. No signs on the aisles, nothing. So yeah, you guys ran a beautiful show. Kim did an incredibly good job. McLean also. It really, I was expecting it to, it's a first time show. So I figured, okay, there'll be some hiccups here and there, but it wasn't. I mean, it was ran extremely well. It blew my mind. And the variety of creators you had there, including voice actors and things like that, podcast people, inkers, writers, the whole shebang. It was a beautiful variety of stuff, including vendors. And I absolutely love how you had the artists set up. The artists were all the way around the outskirt, and the vendors were in the middle of the room. I loved it.
Yeah, and it'll stay like that. And again, if you looked at the vendors, all the vendors were comic related. I've been to comic cons too. Let's go back to Santa Fe, right? Just like I said, you're at a comic con. All right. You're expecting to walk in. You have collectors coming in looking for books. They want to dig through back issues. That's what they're there for. You got little old me sitting there with one book with a cover. You got McLean and Ken over there with books that they've worked on and their prints. That's it. That was it and I'm talking 2 rooms of vendors. That was it. And when we first started planning this, I was like, okay, not to leave anybody out or not to say that this is a bad thing, but this is a comic con. My vendors are going to be comic related people. They're not going to be, no knock on anybody if you do this, but it's not going to be a Scentsy candle. It's not what. Hey, if you want to come out with candles, if you want to come out with candles and they're all shaped like superheroes, well, come on, we'll bring you in. But I want people walking in going, this is a comic collection show, Comic Con. So, yeah, I know we've gone over your hour, but man, I'm here all night.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm in no rush. I got more questions. So.
No, but yeah, so
I'm sure Kim's happy to be away from you for a moment. She's probably like, keep him as long as you can.
Oh God, I stay in my office. I got the PlayStation set up now in here. I'm good to go.
Lord.
But yeah, as far as the comic show, and I'll say this year, what you didn't see last year, we had it in the one ballroom. I've got so many requests this year. Going to have another room opened up this year. That's the anime room. We've already got 5 big voice actors coming, with more coming. It's going to be an anime room. So,
very cool.
That's another crowd that comes in. So we're putting artists and people in the lobby this year. We're about sold out of vendor booths. I mean, we're about sold out of vendor booths already. And there's still some people that we haven't even announced that are coming. So there are some other people coming, guests that we've got coming in that we haven't announced yet. So, I'm pretty awesome who we got. We got you're coming back. It's big. Ariel's coming back. Mustafa's coming back. Jeremy Clark's coming back. We've got great people, great artists, great creators. McLean's coming. Ken Salinas, we call him the Hookman because, all those nice signs on your booths, that wouldn't happen without Ken. Now, he couldn't stand up and reach because he's so little, but he did a hell of a job putting the hooks on the table. So we gave him his job again to put the hooks on the table. He walked around and did that last year during setup, which was huge. So, we get a lot of support from people. We've had customers come in our store saying, hey, I don't need free admission. I don't want anything like that. But if you need help setting up anything with the con, you need us to come out and volunteer, we'll still pay for your ticket. Just let us know. We're here to help you.
Nice.
You don't get that everywhere. So, that's huge.
But that's because of the service you guys do at your store.
I would, we're not the best at the store. Let's put it that way. But like I said, we all make mistakes in the store. But I think it is, we try to become friends with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a business to us. It's just like going back to the store. We don't do board games and stuff like that. But I've been asking guys, hey, look, we may come up and do a Friday night Risk, right? Who's in to come up and just hang around? We'll lock the door. We'll play Risk,
Mm-hmm.
bring in some beer, whatever. Uh, I'm going to do a murder mystery night up there. I mean, not an actual murder. It could happen. We're in Watauga, but we're not. But we're going to do a murder mystery. There's a story written that's a murder mystery. I've got about 10 people wanting to come set up.
Nice.
We're going to set up, lay out the papers, and we're going to go through a murder mystery night. Little pastime after dark thing, just for fun. But we try to do things with customers. I know others hadn't been able to do. When Avengers Endgame came out.
Mm-hmm.
We rented out a movie theater, and our customers didn't know, but they would come in, they'd buy books on a Wednesday, and we're like, hey, what are you guys doing Friday night? And they're like, oh man, I was trying to get Avengers tickets, and we'd give them a ticket, 2 tickets. Why don't you come see the movie with us? We gave away 60 tickets to go see Avengers Endgame with us, with our customers, just stuff like that. But yeah,
but man, most people don't do that. That's what, like I've had people say to me, I don't understand why goodwill is so hard for some people to get. I really don't understand how people can't fathom that sometimes you just do stuff because you want to see other people smile and other people be excited and other people have a good time. I mean, I've actually gotten, and I'll have to send you these one day, at least I think I still have it saved on my phone. I've actually gotten pissed off hate PMs from people mad because I gave away a bunch of art on my show, talking about I shouldn't be doing that, that it causes people to think that they should get it for free from somewhere else. And I'm like, dude, you can kiss my ass. I'm going to do whatever I want to do on my show. And I mean, that's about as clear as I can make it for you, but I'll have to see if I still have a screenshot for
okay,
that.
but you're giving away your art because you're saying thank you to the people that
Mm-hmm.
support you. That's
exactly
what it's about. You don't have to make, and there are artists that won't do that. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
artists. I know some great artists too that are like you, right? That I've asked to do a cover, and they're like, I'm like, what's your cover fee? And they're like, I'm not charging you to do a cover of one of your books. Just give me 25 comps. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to charge you for a book. Just, hey, I want to help support you, And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. And, and I don't mind paying the artist fees either and comps. That's normal. You guys
Right.
you guys work, you do the work, you should be compensated for it. That's fine. David Sanchez has done a couple of covers for me. And, one time he literally sat here and it's hanging up right here. My Forgotten Isle, he did issue 4. He did an homage cover to Walking Dead 100. And when he finished, the cover was amazing. He turned around, handed me the original, and he said, here you go, bud. That's for you. What? You could sell that for $800. He goes, it's not about the money. You'll enjoy it. Go do something with it. It's stuff like that. You've given me a couple of pieces before. And I don't know. I think, honestly, and I've made posts before. What's up, Rumley? I think everything comes back around full circle. So you're talking about goodwill. I think that's something that we're trying to do in the store. Be different with the customers. It's not all about, our customers in here. Guess what? They're just somebody else spending money in the store that's just helping us pay bills. I don't think you look at it like that. You look at it as those people are your friends. They're coming in to spend time with you in your store and hang out, talk to them.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And to jump back on the con thing, another thing you guys do is you guys are doing cons for creators. You're bringing in vendors, but the main priority of your convention is creators. It's not, let's see what big name we can get through the door. It's you guys are, like I said, when I got there and I saw the lineup, when I walked around and looked, some of the people I never heard of, some of them I did, but they were all up and comings for a lot of people. There was a few bigger names here and there. But the fact that you treated everybody the exact same, that, no one got some special spot because of their name or, everyone's treated as equals as we came through the door. And that was badass to me. You guys promoted every single person, creator that was going to be at that thing, no matter what fashion they worked in with comics, writers, pencilers, inkers, whatever. You guys promoted everyone the same. I mean, there's legit people that I'm signed up for cons right now that I sent them my little photo promo
Mhm.
thing that had my basic information on it with a few examples of my picture, that all they had to do was click copy and paste to a post on their page, and they won't do it because my name's not big enough. They said, oh, well, we don't really promote everyone. It's just the bigger names that come in. I'm like, well, now I can understand that if you had to sit around and create, spend an hour per person creating a Photoshop design. I get that. You go, hey, we don't have time to do that, but if you've got one you can give us, sure, we'll slap it on our page. It takes us 20 seconds. Dude, the fact that you guys promoted everybody equally was incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I've been to a lot of cons, and if your name isn't some certain superstar, you're not getting no shine time.
Well, they don't have a McLean. Let's put it that way. I'll put it that way. And and it goes back. I think cons should promote and create or
Hmm.
promote everyone. Uh, and you're right. Our con was created uh, mainly to. It's all about promoting the creators. It's like our store, right? I mean, we have people in the store. Yeah, we've got some big names in our store this year, and that's awesome. That brings people in. We've got return customers that are coming in now from the Ray Park
Hmm.
signing, but we're there to promote creators, right? I look at myself. I'm just a little writer. I don't do anything, but I have fun with it, right? You're in store. We promote you as much as possible. Ken's in our store. McLean's in our store. Ryan Rumley's on here. He's helped us out. He helped us start our store and all that. Well, Ryan's been successful now. And he's gone and he's created his Nocturnal Rabbits business. He does CGC grading and stuff, which is awesome. That's something Ryan wanted to do. We promote Ryan. That's what it's about. It's about
Hmm.
to us. It's about helping each other out. So whatever we can do, there's Mike. You need that's somebody you should get on the show. I'm surprised he hadn't called and begged you to be on the show yet. But Mike Henson's on here. Mike. He
Yeah,
creates
yeah, I do want to get Mike on here, especially
Mike.
because
Mike has done an amazing job with what he's done in the industry. A year and a half ago, Mike could care less about comics, and then all of a sudden, he's writing his own story. Then Mike turned around and decided that he didn't like the way comics were shipped. Mike created Comic Shield.
hmm
In the
yeah, and I
last year,
definitely want to talk to him about that.
that stuff has exploded, right? This is just one guy creating something that he promotes us. We all work together. I don't know. I think that's what it's about. I think that's where I get a lot of my enjoyment out of this business. Because me and Julian will sit in the store and we'll talk about, what's funny? We're like, and it's funny sometimes. I'll be sitting here and I got other friends. I'll text them, say, "Oh hell, William's ranting again," and we all come join and we watch what you're going off about. But you've created that persona, right? That when you go online, how many people want to jump on and hear what you say, even if you're not upset or angry at somebody cutting you off, right? Or something with the NFL, somebody's still going to listen to what you say because you're announcing a cover, you're doing something like that.
Right.
And then stores, and then you're starting to get picked up for more covers and all that. Well, to me, that's how it should be. You don't have to be a big name, you don't have to be the super A+ guy in this industry to make it good. It's all about everybody working together and promoting, and
Yep.
a lot of that I learned from, and I'll keep it out, was McLean. He's got his own shirts that say create. He does
Yep.
his show like yours that promotes creativity, promotes
Yep.
writers, promotes artists. And that's what it's about, because not all of us are going to get picked up by Marvel and DC or
No.
Image. It's not going to happen, right? But there are plenty of other ways to go out there and
Mhm.
promote yourself and make money. And I think that's what it's about, right? I mean, I don't make a lot of money off these books. I mean, think about it. You know what comics cost. People know what
Mhm.
comics cost. So,
Ooh,
uh,
shipping.
yeah, that's something you can't. And hey, I'm going to say, if you're watching the show, don't get mad on shipping prices. Go look at shipping prices, because we hear it too.
Mhm.
Here's my thing, right? I charge $8.50 to ship. What people don't understand is like, oh my God, and that's priority mail.
Mhm.
We can get up to 10 books in one of Mike's comic shields. Well, you know what? It cost us to buy that comic shield.
Yep.
But it cost us for the envelope and stuff. We lose money on shipping, but we try to keep shipping costs down. We had a customer just throwing a fit that our shipping was too high on 2 books. I can ship it in a media mailer, as you say, and the book will come in rolled up and damaged. But
Mhm.
You know, shipping is about $8 these days. It's
Yep.
you know, and then you go to some places, shipping's $10. We have nothing to do with shipping. You got to talk to UPS or FedEx or the post office. Shipping
Yep.
is not
If you
cheap.
want, if you want USPS to stop being expensive shipping, stop walking your ass into the front door, grabbing a whole bunch of those free boxes, and going home and custom Frankenstein in these shipping things for you to put your stuff in. I don't know how people still think that's free. I'm like, it's not free, dumbass. You're jacking the prices up for everybody. But yeah, I mean, you can't please everyone, whether it's how fast you ship or how you ship or the cost of shipping. I mean, you're never going to please everyone.
No,
I mean, I just try to ignore the issues, which luckily I don't get it very often. And but to go, talking about the videos and stuff, like I think that's what it's like. That's what made me want to do this, because I've watched a lot of people on my news feed do these videos. Some of them were great. Some of them made me want to beat my head with a sledgehammer, because of two reasons. Either one, every time they went, and I understand clicks, and I understand your buddy brigade. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with trying to do some fun stuff with your clique. But I know for me watching these and being an up and coming artist, and I love to hear people's stories and their hardships and their successes. These people wouldn't interview anyone else. It was the same 3 or 4 people every single week talking about the same brain numbingly goofy crap. And that's fine when it's just you and your clique hanging out. Like if we were sitting at home having beer, we talk about stupid crap. So it's that same format. It's just on social media. But if you're someone that's trying to hear a story, that's not for you. And so it was either that, or God forbid, when I heard a lot of these males try to interview females, what's your favorite color? Oh, you're as talented as you are beautiful. Dude, you're not getting laid. Let it go. Okay. Ask the questions. So I got sick of seeing that. So that's what I want with this show, is I want to give up, and I know I don't have no major platform or nothing like that, but I want people that are all about lifting other people up. And and I don't want to talk to just artists and writers. Like my plan for this show is I want to talk to people that have their fingers in the comic realm in some way. But they're people that I see that are constantly lifting others. Like if you're not sharing other people's content, if you're not promoting other people's stuff, if you're not buying into other people's Kickstarters, your ass is not going on my show.
right.
Period. So I mean, I don't understand why some people can't just get that. Why they can't understand there's enough room at this table for everyone. We don't have to be self-centered or petty or any of that. And don't get me wrong, I understand my persona that I kind of play out with the angry artist isn't for everyone. I get that. But if you can't separate someone doing a bit and having some fun with the recording, and now don't get me wrong, I can be an asshole. I'm not saying I'm some sweetheart or something like that. But so I get that it's not for everyone, but it's still, at the end of the day, it should be about uplifting, and it should be about seeing your neighbor succeed right along with you.
There, you hit it on the head. Because so I know you have me on here and you're talking about my stuff and all that, but guess what? My stuff doesn't happen without everybody else that I've been mentioning.
Yep.
It's not about me. And that's the way I look at it. I got a support group that pushes me and helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got all these friends, you included, that push me to do stuff. I've got all these guys on here, and there's a list of them, right? You got Rumley, you got Mike Henson, you got Julian, you got Brian, you got McLean, and he's one of the biggest, because again, in this industry, and I'll say his name 100 times and give him as much credit as I can, because he's like a mentor in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for
a workhorse.
if it wasn't for him telling me how things work, I would have never put out a book. So he is part of the reason, as well as friends and family, that my stuff started getting out. And I think it takes all those people around to help, because I've written a book, and here's one thing, I've sent it over to Mike, and I'm like, hey, I just finished this. We're getting it drawn. What do you think? And we got it over to Mike before, and Mike has sit there, Henson, and he's like, I don't like the way that sounds, right? Well, Mike didn't write it. It's not his book. But I'm not the guy that's going to get defensive and say, well, I don't give a shit what you say.
No,
What's
hell
wrong
no.
with that? He goes, this is what I'd say. Just hear me out. I'm like, okay. And he made 2 or 3 great points, and I changed the story. I go to McLean and say, hey, this is what Mike said. And McLean's like, you know what? That does sound better. Just something simple, because Mike wants to see it succeed.
Yeah.
And Ryan at the beginning, Ryan helped me on Forgotten Isle stuff. Tim Leonard's watching. He edited a couple of the books. We went out and got an editor named Emily Rose. She did one of our books and helped us, which was great as well. So there's a lot of people that have put time and effort into stuff that I do, that if it wasn't for them, McLean's right, everybody works together. If it wasn't for them, nothing I've done would be successful. It's like you, Mike, Ken, DJ. There's a list of people that I could go on, almost like an Oscar speech, that have done covers for me. You're doing covers for me. Sanchez does it. It's just, again, everybody works together, and without that whole wheel going, nothing. It all comes to a halt. So, so it goes back to, like you said, the goodwill toward everybody working together, and everybody wanting everybody to be successful. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And if you're not in this industry for your friends to see them be successful and to push other people, you're greedy as hell. That's the way I look at it. You're greedy as hell, and you don't belong in the industry. You belong at the kids table, is where I look, not down here with the rest of us. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I said, I'm very proud with the people I've met so far doing this. I've been doing it professionally for 3 years, and I, and it's still kind of weird to me to say that. And I've had some people. I've actually made that statement in my videos before, and I've actually had someone send me a message once before telling me, well, you're not working for the big 3, so you're not professional. Like, again, first off, you can kiss my ass. I'm 100% professional because I make a living off this, and it's my sole income. But it's that kind of, like I said, that petty, selfish mentality that kind of does run a little bit through our environment a little. And not only the boldness of sending someone a PM and telling them they're not something is mind blowing to me, but then just the rude way of doing it, I'm like, it's just so, like, that's the only people I know I want to be around. So that's why I'm very proud of whom I've met so far. From your crew with McLean and Sanchez and Ken and all the guys from Texas and ladies. Like I said, Kim has been an absolutely pleasant person to be around too at the cons and stuff like that. And then of course Julian and Brian. And I mean, dude, you guys have probably one of the solidest groups that I think I've bumped into doing this for 3 years. I mean, the way you guys, I mean, it's just like watching a bunch of high school friends. I mean, that's what it really looks like, is a bunch of people that went to high school together and now they're doing this. So, I mean, I will definitely give you guys praise anytime I can think on the subject. And I'll definitely make sure I'm part of anything you guys are ever doing, because I know that's the people I want to be around. And I definitely want to get, like some more of your crew I want on my show, like Ken and Sanchez and McLean and Henson and stuff like that. But I do got a question for you about the upcoming Comic-Con. Have you guys thought about doing, because I know that's one of the things I enjoyed when I went to shows. Have you guys thought about doing an actual panel where you, with, like, maybe a pencilers, writers, or whoever, and just kind of let the crowd ask questions? Because I wish there would have been more of those at the few cons I was able to go to when I was younger.
Yeah, we are actually working on putting the panel together to where,
Nice.
and I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to host like a 30-minute question and answer session with you
Hell yeah.
and about 5 or 6 other people. Because that was one thing somebody said, oh, I wish you would have had some panels. Well, yeah, but we didn't know how last year was going to turn out,
Right.
Because, me doing the con, and I'll say this, I'll always get the vendors, right? And you can, you can ask, McLean and Ken and Kim and Julian and James and Sean and all these guys, right before we open the doors to the con, we're at 40 minutes. I'm pacing. because I'm scared to death, and I'm being honest. Like a little kid over there, I am scared to death because the vendors are there. We spent, over $10,000 on the facility. All right.
And it's a nice one too.
And you got it sold out, right? Sold out. Everybody's set up. They got great stuff. You're ready to go. And I'm like, God, I hope the people show. Right? It's Halloween day. You're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's wearing masks, and you just crossing your fingers. And I remember we're all standing inside, and Kim walks in, and she looks, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Well." And I'm like, "Yeah, great. It's going to be a failure." She goes,
damn.
There's a line out the door going down the steps. And I was like, "Oh, thank God." And it just kept coming all day.
Wasn't it like 700 the first day, 800 the first day? Wasn't it?
700 or 800 the first day, and they kept coming. And I remember there were other people that are friends of mine that have their own comic stores and companies that walk in, and they were looking around going, "Oh, I should have set up," because they saw how packed it was. And now Sunday, as you know, Sundays are always slower.
Yeah.
I mean, Sunday started off slow. That's a given. It's going to happen.
Especially in the South.
Yeah. Sunday started off slow. No biggie. It started off slow. But then all of a sudden, about 1 o'clock, it just exploded with people. I was like, what?
Church was over.
Church was over, right? And people from the previous day were back again.
Yeah.
And shopping and having a good time. I know a couple of people say, well, I didn't have to bring my kids today, so it's all about me. And so it's going to be interesting this year because one of the days of the Comic-Con this year is on Father's Day. Well, that made me nervous, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. I think we'll be okay. Father's Day, a lot of dads want to get out and come shop. So they've got their excuse to get out of the house and not have to do their honeydews and all that.
Yep. And it's a day that dads can finally spend money on themselves and not be made to feel guilty.
Yeah. And, this year I've talked to McLean and all them and said, you know what? I'm probably not going to have probably not going to have my own table this year.
Damn.
No, you know what? I want to be out. This is one thing that I felt bad last year. I want to be out walking around. I want to be out checking on people, talking to people that are paying when they're walking in paying. And I want to be around talking to the vendors. I didn't get to do enough of that last year. Right. And I felt I should have been able to do that. I had fun at my booth and selling my books, and I sold a lot, which shocked me. But this year I think, I'll have some of my books in the past. They don't know it yet, but I'm going to take over half the pastime booth and put my books in there. But at the same time, I want to walk around. I want to check on people. Just like you said, if you need a break, we're going to have volunteers there, but I want to make sure everybody's doing okay. It's going to be bigger this year. We're going to have 2 rooms. We're going to have a lot more going on.
Right.
But, you're talking about the panels. That'll be a definite this year. We're getting that set up. I think they're a lot of fun. I've been a part of them. But I want to do a panel with, artists. I want to do a panel on, first-time people that want to create and learn how to draw or learn how to write books. I want to have one of those panels as well. The Gabe's Cave guys are coming back. Love those guys, right? They had the big podcast. They interviewed you last year. They're coming back again. They're going to be set up with their big spread again, interviewing artists, interviewing people again. That'll all be live on YouTube. That's huge. We're going to get some sponsorships this year, I believe, to help out. We're trying to get, of course, we got to get Chick-fil-A, right? We're trying to get Chick-fil-A to help donate gift cards as giveaways for customers, just all kinds of different stuff. So there's a lot going on in the works right now for that con. We're full steam ahead. Crossing fingers, nothing happens. That con should have been in April, but because the Tarrant County decided to come in, they took over the facility and they're using it as a vaccination site. So they'll be done in May. The con's in June, so we were able to get a date in June. Right. So as long as the government doesn't shut anything down, then we'll be good to go.
And you know what? And I think in all reality, June might be better than a March one. I mean, April one.
I do too. It's given us more time to get more stuff planned. Because if it would have happened in April, probably wouldn't have had the anime guys show up. Probably wouldn't have had some of the cosplay people that are coming out. And a couple of the other guests weren't going to be able to make it in that we're going to have coming in. Weren't going to be able to make it in April. But because it's June and it's later in the year, we're getting a lot of feedback now saying, oh yeah. And I think people are going to be ready to get out because you're talking June. Around here, I looked. Every con is pushed. There's nothing going to happen around Dallas Fort Worth we'll be the first one out. Now, Texas Frightmare, I take that back. I think that they're the end of March. But between March and our show, there's nothing. So people are going to be itching for something to do. And then our con will pop in June. It's already being promoted everywhere. It's getting great reviews right now. So we've got it all on the main con page. There's a website called Fan Cons where you can get on and look at every con that's going on in North America. And we're listed on there now that we weren't last year. So that's going to bring more people in. We did a lot of boosting. About the only kind of promotions we haven't done is a billboard. And, if I can get somebody maybe like Mike Henson to buy a billboard, then we'll get one of those up too.
Hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and put this challenge out right now. And damn well, I've talked to you guys about a bigger project also. And I'm not scared to put my money where my mouth is. Especially when it has to do with good overall events. If you guys can talk to someone about putting a billboard up for the event, let me know, and I will definitely chip in with that. And I'm going to go ahead and put this out there for every damn body else that's going to be at that con. Now Chris wouldn't say this, but I'm going to say this for everyone else that's going to be at that con. Contact Chris, see what he can find out about the billboard, and I'm going to challenge you guys to make a donation towards the billboard sign too, because we need more cons right now, but we need more cons that put creators first, not trying to see what superstar they can get through the door. Because the other thing that pisses me off about these cons that won't promote up and coming artists or us average guests, us little peons, is it's our money that we pay for those tables that gives them the money to pay for their superstars that they fly in for free. And yet they don't want to promote us. And like I said, you guys last year were promoting every single person that was going to be at that show. And it wasn't like you posted them once and then forgot about it. I mean, you guys made many posts, whether it was you or McLean, whether it was on the store or whether it was on your personal Facebook pages. You guys were promoting the hell out of everyone. So I'm damn sure going to drop the challenge on that. If you're going to be at this event, damn sure touch base with Chris, and let's see if we can get a billboard up for that thing.
Yeah, and that goes back to talking to McLean then, where we're talking about, hey, we're going to try to get a couple sponsors this year to help out. Mike helped out last year with Comic Shield. All the lanyards that all the vendors had. Mike paid for all those, and he had Comic Shield on them. It was great. It didn't cost him much, but he's like, hey, you know what? I'll cover all the lanyard costs. You guys don't have to. Yeah. One thing about our show, like I said, it's not a money grab. And again, it goes back to, I guess, I don't have many morals. I'll put it that way. You know me. So I do have those. All the booths that, we charge the vendors for the booths. All that money is what pays for the facility. You can take the facility fee. You can look at our floor plan and you can divide it by that many booths and what they cost. And that's what it's costing us for the facility, not a penny more. So that's, and I know a lot of cons, okay, well, it may cost you $15,000 for the facility fee. Well, you're charging $500 for a booth for a 2-day show. Good God, man, how much are you putting in your pocket, right? You got a full, I see how all this works, right? And this is another reason why I'm like, when I was talking to McLean, everybody, I'm like, you know what? We're going to do it right. We want to promote the artists. We want to promote the creators. That's what it's about. We want good vendors out there selling comics with back issues. We want everybody making money because that's what it's about. If customers walk in and they're buying your prints, you walk out like you did happy and you're like, I sold a lot of prints. Look how many more followers I just picked up. Ken Salinas sitting next to you. McLean sitting next to you. Same people. And I say, here's one thing that I loved last year. I did sit there and I watched a husband and wife come through. They started at my table. Because, I had to be number one, right? So you had me there. I was in the first slot when you walk into the artist. Start at my table. They bought about 4 books. They moved to McLean's table. They bought a few books. They moved to Ken. They bought some prints. They moved to DJ. They bought some prints. They moved to David. They bought a couple. I'm watching them. They spent $200 before they got to you. So after DJ was Bill, they bought a couple prints. Then they bought 2 or 3 prints. They kept going down. At the very end, when that guy was done, they came up, they had like 8 bags in their hands full of stuff. He came up and shook my hand and told me how great it was. He loved it. And he goes, I was here to support all your artists. I bought something from every artist table that there was. I was like, oh my God. And his wife's like, we made the square. You know, they'd made the big square, and they bought from every artist was there. Before they even went up and down the vendor aisles, they supported every artist that was there first. And I was like, okay, that's awesome for them just to stop. Even if it was a $5 book, they bought something from somebody's table. So to me,
And
that's
what it should be about. I mean, that's definitely what it should be about. And you know, and like I said, and that truly matters too. Like you know, I've been to some cons where they have all the vendors right when you walk through the door, and all the artists are in the back like the little redheaded stepchild. So by the time people walk through the vendors, they didn't have money to spend on us. You know, I was at a Comic-Con. Hell, I'll say the damn name. I don't give two shits. I was at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple years ago. Now, let me put it in perspective for you guys, what it takes for a lot of us. I was out $1,600 for that con before I ever left my state. From table purchases to hotel fees and travel, I was out $1,600 before I ever got to the con. And it would have been more than that if I hadn't been a cheap ass and stayed 30 minutes away in the hood and drove all the way to the con every day. And then parked my car a mile from the con and walked with all of my stuff. And that still cost me $1,600. That con, great con as far as size is concerned. But they decided to do something new the year I went. 4 floors. You come in through the front door. You had to go through 3 floors of vendors before you got to the artist alley. No signs on any of the floors that said artist alley was at the top. And like I said, everybody had to walk through the vendors to get to us. So we had almost no traffic on a 3-day event. We had almost no traffic from day 1. Day 2, the same thing. And, you know, and then what people came through, everybody was window shopping. And at first I was like, damn, does nobody like my stuff? What the hell? I mean, they're digging, but they're not buying. So I went over and talked to a couple of actual big name artists. They were in the same boat. So like I said, it matters. And the fact that you guys took that into consideration, that you put artists right there at the start of the door when you walk through, and natural human habit, when you walk into a room to look at things, you always go to the left or you go to the right, you make a circle, and then you go to the middle. It's just what we do. And you guys realize that, and you guys laid out the artist that way. So, dude, man, again, it was one of my favorite cons I've been to.
Appreciate it. And that's how it's set up this year, as well as lobby area will have artists as well. I mean, we only have so much room to play with in that center. And I actually, we looked at other facilities when we were told that in April we can't have the show because it's going to be a vaccination site. Nothing that the conference center could do. You know, their hands were tied. It was taken over by the county. We started looking at other facilities, and there were some nice facilities. Money was a little higher. I didn't want to do that because I'm like, I'm not raising the table prices on these guys.
Right.
We can push the con out. But the more we looked at stuff, the more you're like, nothing compares to Hearst, right? It's just nothing around here compared to it. Dickey's Arena, downtown Fort Worth, absolutely gorgeous facility, man, just gorgeous. We went and looked at it, absolutely loved it. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be badass. This will be great. And then she's taking us down the elevator. We go in the basement. I mean, we're underground. Parking would have been great. Load in would have been amazing, but just think, you're in the garage area underground with all the concrete pillars and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that.
That works for a horror movie, but not a Comic-Con.
Hey, Ryan Rumley, we looked at WinStar to let you know, and that the price on that is absolutely ridiculous. So, and then we also looked at, will we have people drive all the way up there? I have no idea. But going back to what you're saying, one thing I will say about, I've been to a couple cons too. Some of the cons, like you said, you could walk in and you'll see all the artists on the back wall and then all the vendors in the front. There is a reason for that sometimes. And I don't have an issue with this because I know what they're doing. Let's say you have throw it out, a Clayton Crane set up, and he's against the back wall. and say you're sitting next to him and Ken's over there and McLean, all you guys are on that back wall. Okay, well, people are going to walk in to go see the artist. That's going to happen. Well, the way those promoters set them up is they do that because they also want them, instead of some people will just come in, go straight to an artist table, and then they leave. I mean, those promoters want them walking the show. So they purposely will set them up in the back to make that customer walk the show floor to get where they want to go. Their eye they may catch something with their eye and go, oh my God, right. There's such and such sitting there. I never saw that statue before. I know how that's played out. Doing food shows and all that over the years, it's done the same way. So I get that. I don't get the 3-story thing like you said at what you were telling me about the Dragon Con. That's ridiculous. You got to have signage, even if you have to put them in another room. I've done cons with McLean and them. We've been stuck in another room. That's happened to us, I think. And I'm not going to name the con, but I told you this year on a con, remember I messaged you and said, be careful on that one because probably not going to be.
I took your advice.
Yeah. And it wasn't a good one, right? Mike was there. It just wasn't a good one. A lot of crowd there. We were in a separate room. All the artists were in a separate room. Nobody knew we were there. And we sat there for 2 days. I think I did $17, $18 in 2 days. Ooh. Just nobody knew we were there. McLean knows what I'm talking about. Mike knows because we talked about it Tuesday night. So, hey, I have no problem. Like our con, we're going to have to open another room for anime, but you damn well better. You're guaranteed that there's going to be signs everywhere saying Animarium. Come see, this artist over here. Come see Vic. Come see Stephanie. Blah blah. Voice actors. There's going to be signs put up where people know. Oh crap! I'm going to have volunteers sitting there going, "Hey guys, when you walk, but don't forget we got another room over here." We're a lot bigger now, so we want to make sure that when the customers come in, they're going to walk everywhere throughout that con, not just the main ballroom. Where main ballroom is a lot of things going on, and there are a lot of vendors, but there's going to be artists spread out all over that convention center.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely super excited, and I'm super excited for the Gulf Coast one in Houston. Next month too. I'm super excited about that. I know a lot of people, first time cons freak a lot of people out, and don't get me wrong, I understand why, and it can be that way. But I enjoy them, man. I enjoy getting to see new things pop up. I enjoy seeing a new twist because you get to see how people view cons in general and how they set it up and how they run it and then it gives you an idea of how that area reacts to those type of things. So it's pretty cool in general. But with the Comic-Con being the way it is, and then with writing being the way it is, are you going to, when you do the panel thing, are you going to be in there also where you can talk about the writing aspect of it and everything also?
Yeah, I want to do one. I want to see. I may only have 1 or 2 people sit there for my panel, and that's okay, And it may be the volunteers sitting by the door in the chair to make sure nobody sneaks in. That may be the only people, but I don't have the fan base as all you guys do. That's okay. So I'm just one of those, as McLean calls me, one of those regular people. I'm not up there. I'm not a peon. I'm below that level. I'm just a regular person. So
I've got to make sure people get the memo. They got to, it's either Sir William or,
right. And
the Almighty, any of that works.
I like the surname because now it was funny. It's the craziest thing. I was joking about that the other day about this surname, and what of a sudden is popping up all over my Facebook feed. And you have had to seen it. You can go pay $40 and buy a little tiny 1x1 square of land in Scotland, and now you're a lord.
Yep,
right?
It doesn't take much.
No, and it'll show up on Facebook. So I'm thinking about doing that just so I get the Lord, HAYS in front of my name to make me feel special. So
have a good night, Ken, man. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God, it's 9:40, Ken. Come on.
Hey,
that's
what we old people do.
I'm a lot older.
There's one thing I kind of want to, I talked to you about something I think it was the last night at your store. For my project. So you remember me chatting with you about my project?
I don't remember yesterday.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, anyway,
yes, I do know. I know what you're talking about.
All right. So I want to try. For those that don't know, I actually have my own creator idea that I'm going to be trying to put forward this year, and for Psycho Sal. And for those that don't know, it's about a serial killer, and it deals with a painter, and the serial killer is recreating these murders based off of the painter's paintings. He's a very macabre painter. But that's something I want to, like I talked to you about. Originally, the first book was going to be myself and my oldest daughter, who is a very talented writer. But I'm expecting my first grandbaby with her. She's her and her boyfriend are due March next month, end of next month, I believe. And so, I didn't really want to put that pressure on her to try to sit down and write that kind of stuff. So I talked to Chris about being a guest writer and help him write the first book for Psycho Sal. Because my book's a little different than comic form. The closest thing I can compare it to is like Stephen King and Bernie Wrightson's Cycle of the Werewolf. It's just a short story, and then like there's art thrown in through it to kind of represent what's going on in that chapter. So I've always enjoyed those kind of books. I'm a big novel person in general, but I love those short story stuff. And each one, as I do them, I want to do two things. I want to have a guest writer for each one of the books. So I started thinking about that with my daughter starting her life, and she's going to be super busy at moments. She may not can write very many things. So I thought about that. I was like, you know what? I'll talk to Chris. I'll talk to other writers that I bump into about being a guest writer for a short story. So I definitely can't wait to get with you on that. And because I want to not only pick your brain about doing the story, I also want to pick your brain about putting it into Kickstarter, stuff like that. And I am also going to do something else that you don't see a lot of or artists do for their own personal book when it's well, I guess you do see some of them, but I will also want to touch base with people like Ariel and David Sanchez, and Ken. I love Ken's chaotic style with his art, about doing guest covers for the book for the Kickstarter. Do you I mean, like I said, I know I talked to you about it, but does that sound like from what we talked about and the kind of base? I don't want to expose too much of it right here, but from what I gave you, do you think that's something you could probably come up with some crazy ideas for me? And not ideas, but story moods and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Because I definitely want you on it.
Yeah, and you tell me, let's get together and get a deadline of when you want to start plugging out the first issue, and you may want to launch it this year. Then we want to start getting on it because, like I said, I can write this when I'm doing Detour 2, and if we're going to do that, then I'll push my Ferryman Origins book out a little bit. That's fine to help get yours out. I think it'll be fun.
I'm thinking whenever I come down for either the store thing for the Mortician I imagine that con's going to be the first thing.
The con will be the first. I mean, because here's what I'm thinking. If you're coming in for Houston, I wonder if we can tie in the store signing there so you don't have to turn around and drive. Well, see, exactly, because there's no reason to bring you from, backwoods Mississippi to, to Watauga, Texas. So, anyway, and then have you drive and hang out for a day and then drive back, and then you're going to come back a couple of weeks later for Houston. So I was already thinking that, like, look, the book can launch. We'll let people come in and buy them, get them in their hands already, and then we'll do the store signing. Because I want you there. I want David there. I want me. I want McLean. I want Ken. I want to try to get anybody that's worked on the book. I want to try to get him there, in store, set up in tables. We'll just take over Pastime Comics that day. Julian's hearing about it now, so make him watch, make him, run the register. And I think we'll have a lot of fun. We can all go out and have dinner or something afterwards. But and again, the Kickstarter, and again, thank you for everybody that's been part of the Kickstarter.
Oh hell yeah, Mortician's been awesome.
You know what? As a matter of fact, you just had somebody else just watching the show. I hadn't even given out anything on the Kickstarter, but one of your guests on here watching has actually gone in and purchased a package on the Kickstarter because I got the notification. So I see the name and I see the name scrolling. I'm like, so thank you for doing that. But
Yeah, please put the link in here, McLean, if you don't mind. If you haven't already, please drop the link for the mortician. And I'll let you get back to that, but I just want to point this out real quick. For everyone listening to this, indie projects are so damn important to the comic world because they are the projects for the most part that are making you think, pushing the limits, giving you things that you aren't bottle fed all the time. And don't get me wrong, I love the big three and everything, but a lot of the stories tend to be the same old mix, the same old ball game, the same old characters. Um, and Kickstarters need all the love you can give them, whether it's just sharing the product information or whether you're purchasing the products. Make damn sure you're supporting Kickstarters. It doesn't cost you very much to support them, and every nickel that you're able to give to those type of projects is means so much to the people doing them. So please keep that in mind because that's where a lot of us up and coming artists get a lot of our actual real exposure and work at. Is doing these wonderful projects. So anyway, so there we go. So go back to what you were saying there.
No, and you're right on the Kickstarter. And and I'll divulge the secret that we do with Kickstarters. You know how, like I said, I treat my projects, my Kickstarters, as I do the comic store, as we do the con, right? The money that we raise on the Kickstarter, that helps to pay the artist. The stuff's not cheap, right? To make a comic, the printing is not cheap. The interior artist, the cover artist, when you get multiple cover artists, the little things that you want to do, the stretch goals, we pay for all that. We don't add it on to the packages and all that, and add on extra fees. The extra money and all that goes, it helps pay for the project manager and the letterer and things like that. Right. The extra money left over, it goes to start funding the next project. It doesn't go on somebody's, not on our Kickstarters that we do, that McLean and all us work together on. That money's set aside separately. There's usually not much left over, but guess what? It goes to go ahead and start funding to start working the next project. So there you go, Marty. Thank you. Yeah, to me, that's what it's about. Now, there are Kickstarters. I wish I was like we all do. I wish I was a Todd McFarlane that could raise $3.4 million on a Spawn Kickstarter. That's insane. Congrats to him. And, you got to be you're going, oh, yeah. The best thing, we got off track.
All you got to do is just add a calendar that shows your cleavage and everything.
He added
18 grand.
There it was. They added a freaking little Spawn plastic figure about that big, right? That big on a stretch goal. The dude raised another $500,000 when people went crazy over that. And I'm like, oh my God, man, to have that kind of following would be insane. I'll never be there. I've accepted that, that's fine. I like doing my little stories. I love having fun with them and putting them out and letting people that come in our store and go, you're messed up, And I'll go back real quick to say that, when McLean read The Mortician the very first time, he literally called me and the first words out of his mouth were, "You need therapy." And I was like, yeah, you probably, but I'm not going to go there. And so, but I'm going to have fun with that. But yeah, there are some Kickstarters that they do well, and they do really good.
And like I said, that's one of the reasons, like, even before I got to do one with you guys, I was listening to you talk about your projects. You were telling me about Forgotten Isle. You were telling me about that one project. Man, I wish that one, and I understand why that one couldn't necessarily move forward at that time, because that is a topic a lot of people with PTSD don't really want to talk about. And hopefully we'll get to see that in the future, because I love.
It's not off the table.
Yeah, exactly. We just got to get there.
Funny, when you said that, I actually was taking notes about that yesterday and started replaying. I've got about 8 stories for that right now.
Nice. Because that one's going to be a great one.
That one is a lot of, and I'll throw it out there. It's going to be called The Fallen. David Sanchez is going to do the cover of it. William is, and a lot of the other guys on here are going to do cover art on the inside. It's literally Vietnam vets in their own words telling a story that happened that they were a part of over there. All the money raised from that book are going to go over to Wounded Warriors, Gary Sinise Foundation, to help those guys out. So again, I've got a couple of veterans already that have given me their stories, and when I write this, all I'm doing is taking their stories and I'm typing it. That's what I'm doing. I'm not changing dialogue because the story is going to be in their own words. That's how it's done. I am not going to go in there and change anything they said because, if when they get the book in their hand and they open it and read it, you don't want them going, I didn't say that. That's what movies do, right? That's what movies do. That is not going to happen. This is all.
Dude, I'm super excited about that
and
one.
I'm excited about this, and I want to do it to and it's going to be very humbling because I've heard some stories and talked to a few people, so I can see why not a lot of people talk about that. So,
and the reason I'm super excited about that is because not only have I had family members that served and stuff like
mhm.
that. When I worked with my insurance company, I was with them for 7.5 years. One of the places that we dealt with was the VFW. So I got to sit around many evenings in VFW members' homes. Not only listening to World War II stories, listening to Vietnam stories, Korean story, the Korean War and stuff like that. So, dude, I mean, holy Jesus, some of the stuff that I was told. So I mean, I'm super excited about that. And you damn sure can't ask for a better place for the money to go to with Wounded Warrior. And if you don't know who Wounded Warrior is, I don't know what the hell damn rock you're living under. That place is incredible.
Wounded
So,
Warrior and Gary Sinise are the two, and there will be
yep,
no Kickstarter because Kickstarter, when you do that on a book like that, it makes it look like that I'm raising money to stick in my pocket for
yeah,
that. So there is no Kickstarter on that book. There will be no Kickstarter on the book. I am self-funding this one myself. Any of the interior artwork, any of the cover art, David has already been like, hey, I asked him a while back. He's like, nope, I want to do the cover. Ain't no charge.
yep,
Mike Henson, you have even come forward on about 5 other artists have come over,
yep,
message me and is like, what do you need help with? I'm like, well, I don't know.
yep.
No. We want to help. You just tell us there's no charge. I'm like, well, before each story, there's going to be a cover page, almost like a cover. So let's say we open the main cover and William, you got the first cover page, right? And it may say 1968 Saigon. I'm going to tell you what that story is, let you draw a little something, and that's going to be the first cover. You turn the page, 2 or 3 pages is the story. Then we go to, let's say, McLean's cover page. And then, right, you turn the page, 2 or 3 stories, Mike's cover page, Ken's cover page, right?
Nice.
And I think that that's really cool. And again, any proceeds that we get from that, we keep it all, and then boom, we deliver it to the local one. And it's not about any kind of, oh, look what we did, and none of that crap that people have to take their selfies for giving a homeless person a blanket and post it. I hate that crap.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to take a
No,
video
we're
of us
not doing
hanging
anything like
it and
that.
put it
No,
on
we're not.
YouTube and
No,
get some pats on our backs. Holy Jesus.
no.
Well, I know one thing. I definitely want to make sure, and I don't know how anyone else feels. They can do their own thing. Just remind me of it when we do that. And what whenever I do the artwork for it, we'll take that artwork and we will auction it off live. Maybe we'll do it in your store or something like that, but we'll auction it off live to our viewers. And all the money that comes in from that cover, our original pencils for that cover, you can donate it over to Wounded Warrior also. So we'll definitely do that with the original pencils of mine.
Yeah,
So.
and I've talked to Wounded Warriors. We can. There are signs we can put up, but there are stipulations, things that say I cannot put it on the book that all proceeds of this money, because then it looks like they're taking money from the book, or that there's some very strict, and I like that about them. Unlike where you go to some of these other charity donation places,
You mean where they donate 10 cents out of every dollar that
oh
you
yeah,
give
one of
them?
those. Yeah, one of those to where you think all your money's going to help the kids and stuff. And I don't know. There's a few of those things, but yeah, Ryan Rumley was going to help me out with this project too. He's got family members that served then, so and then a few other people. So that one's going. I started literally taking notes again. It was funny you brought that up because I was sitting here last night and started.
Dude, I ain't letting you forget that one. I'm
No,
gonna
that
bring
one's
that
not
up
going to
every
be
time I
forgotten
think
about.
about it.
That one's not forgotten about. It was literally, I had to get more stories. I couldn't go in and I am not going to sit there and make up stuff because then you lose all the luster of the book, and I don't want it being like that. I want it being.
And I mean, and you got to find the right people that are willing to talk. Because I mean,
Yeah.
some of the vets I sat with, we were always hands-on with our clients. And so, I would visit with them sometimes a couple times a month, sometimes a few times a year. So, a lot of times they wouldn't be real talkative at first, real standoffish. Now, I'm not asking them anything, just, we're talking about, the insurance world. But after I've been there a couple times, or I've been there for a couple of hours, because there's been times, man, one of the things, I loved about that career is the connection that you get, because there was, I usually allocate about an hour per client because we do in-home visits,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to see about 6 to 8 clients a day. I mean, there's been times, man, when I walk in and within that hour, man, I don't somehow talking about the life insurance thing, they'll go off on that story, and then some wouldn't really say anything at all. They've just kind of mentioned, oh, this happened, and that's all they would say. But then some of them, like once that door opened, man, there's been times when I sat 4 or 5 hours at one person's home because he was still talking, and the stories were just wow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so I mean, and like I said, so that's the thing too. You got to wait for the ones that are willing to give that story,
Mhm.
without being pressured, or you let them tell it in their own time too. So
And I'll be honest, I've got some of that on Facebook messages. One guy came out. I'm not going to divulge his name. It's a short little nickname, but it's awesome. And he's literally said, "I want to make sure you're real. I want to watch what you do. I want to make sure you're legit before I say." And I get it. And I'm like,
hmm
"Hey, no problem." And every now and then, like every couple of weeks, I'll get a message from him. "Hey, Chris, how you doing? Just
oh,
checking in,
nice.
making sure everything's good." "Yes, sir. Everything's good. How's the project coming along?" "Haven't started yet. Still waiting on more stories." And he's like, "I'm watching everything you're doing, so I'm just making sure you're legit." And I
Nice.
get that because he's probably thinking, "I don't
All
want
right. Have a
you
good
out there."
night, Jason. Thank you, man.
Yeah, see you guys. Hey, I don't want you thinking that some guys out there just trying to make money off of you guys. So that's not it at all. So again, I'm keeping a record of everything that's sold. It's public, and
Right.
that way, like, hey, it's legit. And that's how I want it to be. So
That's
I think
awesome.
it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to pay a lot of respect, and that's what it's for.
Nice. Well, that is definitely awesome. Well, I see you're starting to get a little hot over there. So,
Oh, I was
uh,
thinking of my days when I was at LeBaire when I used to dance.
oh, okay. But what we'll do is, we've been chatting for 2 hours, man, and I've enjoyed it. I knew this one was going to be a little longer than the normals, and which I'm fine with that. I don't mind talking, because with dealing with a lot of moving parts, I really wanted to get a lot of questions in about each one of those. But we'll definitely, we'll go ahead and let everybody relax for the rest of the night. But um, go ahead real quick, plug what stuff you got going on, whether it's upcoming projects or what's going on currently, what store stuff you got coming up. Again, just do a reminder and let everybody know what all you got going for the next month or so.
Yep. Real quick, you can get on the Kickstarter. McLean put it up there. If you didn't see the link, go to Kickstarter, look up The Mortician. 3 days left, I believe, to jump in on that as well. There's some really cool. We got 3 main covers. Williams, David Sanchez's, and Ken Salinas' cover. But click on The Mortician under Kickstarter.com. Go to Mortician. You can see that there. If you want to see any of my old stuff, there it is right there. Any of my old books that I've written, I say old. That are up, Forgotten Isle and all that. Those are for sale, usually $5 each. They're on 4leafcomics.com. That's my self-publishing company. So the number 4 and then leafcomics.com. You go there. You'll see all my books on there. You can purchase. And then again, if you ever want to check out our show for our comic store, that's Pastime, Pastime, comics.com or pastimecc.com. And then, of course, you got CowtownComicCon.com. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Got
we got a
tons
lot
of
of irons
stuff.
in the fire. Yeah. And
And
there's more coming.
and then of course you and all your crew's going to be at the Gulf Coast Comic
Mm-hmm.
Con. I think is the name of it, Gulf Coast something, Gulf Coast Comic Con. So guys, the link's on my page for the con, and it's on Chris's. But you'll be there next month. What was the dates again? March
Yeah, I'm looking right
19th,
now. So,
20th. Okay.
Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Gulf,
So
Gulf Coast Collectors Convention.
that's it. Collectors convention. Okay.
Collector's. Well, he's got comics, cards, sports. The guy's got everything,
Yeah.
and so.
Yeah, I saw there's a lot of sports people that are going to be there too. That's pretty cool.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
that'll
I
be a
think
little
we'll have a lot
interesting.
of fun. Yeah, we're all
Oh
in the
yeah,
same
I think so
hotel.
too.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
And then of course you got Ariel Diaz coming into your store.
we got
Then you
Ariel coming in. Yeah.
and then who is the other couple names you got coming into the store that you
Jason
mentioned?
Font, get on our Facebook page, Pastime Comics. Jason
Yeah.
Font's coming in February 26th. That's in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Followed by Sam Jones is coming in March 5th. Ariel Diaz March 6th. We got a Hush Hush guy coming in after that right now. And then of course we'll do the big signing in store with the Mortician release. We'll have everybody here, including the
That one I
stars.
was super
The
excited
stars
about.
of the book, which will be my mother and stepdad, who are,
Dude, that means there's going to be per
well,
book, what, 5, 6 signatures?
oh, you got 3 cover artists. You got McLean's 4. You got me's 5. Mom and Ray. That's 7. And then if we get Jeff or Matt to come up too, you could have 9 people signing that book. So
holy crap, that's awesome.
But you know what? Some people are going to want that. Some people are like, oh, you worked on the book. Let me get an autograph. So, and you know what? We may do a couple of giveaways that day as well. I don't know, but I think
don't forget the big giveaway too. For those that don't know, I did something most artists don't really ever do, and I'm not saying that as a pat on the back. I wish more artists would kind of do it occasionally. For everyone, this has to do with the Mortician, which is the main story event he's talking about, where everyone that worked on the book is going to be there for this holy moly moment. Everyone that supported the Mortician Kickstarter, that grabbed the covers, that also went to 4 Leaf Comics or Pastime Comics website, and you grabbed the second prints to number 1 and number 2 by Ken and myself on those books for the second print covers, all new art. Everyone that grabbed those and that has tagged us to let us know that you supported the Kickstarter, you've bought the second print number 1 and number 2s for Don't Pay the Ferryman, your names will all be entered into a giveaway that I'm going to do at that event, to where the winner that gets pulled will win the original inks to my cover of Mortician. So that'll be at that event too.
Yeah, such a great cover. Creepy. How you had that was messed up. I liked it. The girl getting abducted. That was messed up. So
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I've gotten a lot of PMs about it that they liked it. So I think it was a pretty good hit. So, but there you go, guys. Chris, man, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
It was a lot of fun.
I will definitely have you guys
2 hours.
No, I'm fine.
We got to hit McLean's time. I think he's had somebody on for 4 hours before.
Holy crap! Well, me and Bert was on for 3 hours the other night, so I got close.
Dang.
Well,
so
you know what I might do one night, because for those that don't know, like he mentioned just a little while ago, you guys have your own label with 4 Leaf Comics. And so what I might try to do is one evening I'll try to get with all you guys, since we can have multiple people on this thing, and I'll try to do it to where I can get like as many of you guys on this one thing, and we'll do a Q&A for everyone that works on these projects, their experiences and how you guys met, things like that. So we'll definitely make a plan to do that at some point too. I definitely want McLean on this show. I want to get Sanchez. I want to get Ken. I especially want to get Ken because I see so much of the same styles kind of going around. They may be a little different, but Ken has a really crazy style that I love. I love the chaos to it. So I definitely want to get him on. But guys, so we're going to have more of these guys on the show. Again, if you're someone who is in the art industry somehow, or excuse me, in the comic industry somehow, whether you're a cosplayer, real cosplayer, not someone who bought a bikini off Wish and got your tits out and you're calling yourself Vampirella. I'm not interested.
I only did that the one time and sent you the picture.
I said no. No means no.
All right.
But, you know, I definitely want to get some of these people on here. So if you guys know someone, because I don't know everyone, if you guys know a great artist or writer, penciler, or if you know a great, you know, comic seller, or you know a great cosplayer or a promoter or something like that, that you feel has the kind of qualities that we talked about tonight, was about putting other people first and uplifting, you know, their neighbors. Feel free to comment on the video with their names, and I'll try to reach out to them and see if I can get them on the show. But thank you guys so damn much for showing up, hanging out, listen to us just ramble on. And again, you know, thank you so much, Chris, and definitely good luck on everything that you're working on with all of your crew. And I definitely can't wait to see you guys again in Texas next month for sure.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks we'll be together again. So
Yep, we'll be
yeah,
able to hug and everything.
yeah, in the bikini. Okay,
That's right.
I'm getting
Hey,
on the list right now.
I can't do the bikini stuff no more. I told you, dude. Too many stalkers already. It's terrible.
That's true. That's true.
But anyway, you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you again for coming out, guys. Make sure you share the video, please, and make sure you support the Kickstarter. McGuire put the links in the video. So, and thank you so much to McLean for that help on that.
Yep.
And I will see you guys next time on the Angry Hour.
Yep. Thanks,
Later,
guys.
folks.
Thanks, William.